Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ben here. I'm back today with another video. Today I am going to be discussing the Sacramento Kings. Essentially, I just have been noticing, and I'm sure you have too, that the Kings are actually having a good season for once. They're above 500. Right now their record's around 17 and 15, so it's more than just being 5 and 3. It's a significant portion into the season. I've been impressed with them. I think that they're off to a really promising start to a really promising future, building around De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, and Willie Cauley-Stein. And essentially today I'm going to be looking at some trade scenarios that could bolster their team, potentially solidify them as a playoff team, and if not, at least just improve their team and improve their chances in the extremely crowded Western Conference. So I'm going to be going through 5 trade scenarios, and just keep in mind the packages I'm giving back are a lot of times the same for a lot of these trades, just because the expendable assets the Kings have to offer are limited, and at the same time, a lot of their best players are like really young developing guys who I think, to be realistic, the Kings wouldn't be willing to part with in trades. So I was trying to be realistic, while at the same time come up with things that a team might actually do. So here we go. Also, a common theme of these trades is the time price of money, which, if you're not familiar with that, that's essentially like the Kings have guys on expiring contracts, and other teams have guys on similar value deals, but for like 3 years. And so teams would be incentivized to trade with the Kings based on getting away from those bad contracts a season or two earlier by taking on the Kings' expiring contracts. That's a big linchpin of all these trade scenarios I have. So the first one is between the Sacramento Kings and Orlando Magic. I have made a video on this guy previously, but I'm including him in this video as well. And the trade sends Nikola Vucevic and Timofey Mozgov to the Sacramento Kings in exchange for Zach Randolph, who's on an expiring deal for around $12 million, Iman Shumpert, who's on an expiring deal for $11 million, Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's having a pretty good year, and then Yogi Ferrell. So basically, why would the Magic take this trade? Nikola Vucevic is going to leave in free agency, I believe, and try and cash in for a big contract. And I don't think he's going to want to re-sign in the crowded front court of Orlando. So I think that this is better than getting nothing for him. Along with that, you get rid of Timothy Mozgov's really bad contract, which is essentially $16 million, which is dead. By taking this trade, they get rid of that money a season sooner than they would have otherwise, while also securing young, promising guys like Yogi Ferrell as a backup point guard, or potentially a starting point guard, depending on how the Magic see him and DJ Augustine. And then also you get Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's a promising wing player that you can slot into either your starting or backup lineup. For the Kings, you get Vucevic, who, although you already have Cauley-Stein at center, you can play him at power forward or Vucevic at power forward. The reason I say this is because the Kings were doing some starting lineups recently where they had Kosta Koufos and Cauley-Stein start together, who are both traditional centers, so to speak. So it wouldn't be that out of the ordinary, and Vucevic would definitely be a huge upgrade over Kosta Koufos. Vucevic this year, if you don't know, is averaging 21 points a game, 11 rebounds, very good shooting percentages, so he'd fit in well with the Kings. Their starting lineup after this would look something like Fox, Buddy Hield, then probably you're going to see it small forward, Justin Jackson, power forward, Bjelica, and then at center, Vucevic, or they could go with the Cauley-Stein Vucevic power forward center combination. And if you did that, then you have Bjelica and Marvin Bagley would be your main guys off the bench. For the Magic after this trade, your lineup would look something like, let's say, DJ Augustine at point guard, Evan Fournier at shooting guard. Small forward, you'd have Jonathan Isaac or Jonathan Simmons. Power forward, Aaron Gordon, and at center, Mo Bamba, with Bogdan Bogdanovic off the bench, along with Terrence Ross and Yogi Ferrell as your main bench. So a trade scenario that makes sense for the Kings, and for Orlando, your main incentive is moving off of bad money a year sooner. Okay, so for my next trade, I have the Kings trading with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and essentially this would have to be the Cavaliers completely admitting that they're going again into rebuild mode. I have the Kings sending not their 2019 first round pick because they don't own it, but their 2020 first round pick, along with Zach Randolph, Iman Shumpert, and Justin Jackson, to the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Kevin Love. Essentially, the Randolph and Iman Shumpert contracts are worth $22 million combined and are expiring after this season, so you free up $22 million. You move off of Kevin Love's 5-year deal worth roughly $30 million a year over the next couple of years. Which, do you really want to pay him that money? If he plays, your team's going to be about a 28-win team perpetually, so you're not going to be the worst team in the NBA, but you're just going to be bad and out of playoff contention, like perennially a 12 seed in your conference, which you don't really want. So they get the opportunity to push full rebuild along with getting a young Justin Jackson back, who can start or come off the bench, whichever you like. Probably come off the bench for them. And then you get a first round pick that can be promising. For the Kings, you get a stretch 4 who is a perennial all-star, pretty good player. Would really complement this team well, and that he can continue to space it, and then they can still have De'Aaron Fox slashing to the basket and kicking out to him or Hield or Bjelica. It also creates a nice spacing lineup where you could have something like Fox, Buddy Hield, Bogdanovich, Bjelica, and Love, and then everybody but De'Aaron Fox is a really respectable three-point shot, and it really opens up the paint for him. So their lineup after this for the Kings would look something like De'Aaron Fox starting at point, then Buddy Hield, then probably at small forward, Bogdanovich, power forward, Love, center, Cauley Stein. Off the bench, you're going to have Bjelica, Marvin Bagley, and Yogi Ferrell still as your main guys off the bench. For the Cavs, pretty similar to what their current starting lineup is because Kevin Love's out injured. It would probably be something like Colin Sexton. Then actually, I'd probably say Iman Shumpert would start next to him, along with at small forward Osman. Power forward, you'd probably have Larry Nance, I suppose, and then center you'd have Tristan Thompson, and then off the bench you'd have like Clarkson, Alec Burks, John Henson, Della Vadova, Rodney Hood. Kind of a deep bench actually, but they basically get Shumpert and Justin Jackson back, but they'll probably let Shumpert go in the offseason. The third trade on here is one, again, where a team really benefits from letting money go earlier. It's between the Sacramento Kings and the Miami Heat, and this is the one where the Kings actually give up a little bit more. So I have them giving up the 2020 first round pick potentially if the Heat would ask for this. That pick could be included if the Heat were being somewhat stubborn about it. But I have the Kings getting Hassan Whiteside back. They had him in 2011. I have them getting Hassan Whiteside and Josh Richardson in exchange for Randolph, who's basically just an expiring $11 million, $12 million. Iman Shumpert, expiring $12 million or $11 million. Bogdanovich, who's a space and basically a good three-point shooter who can give you 14 points a game. And then I have them also giving up Marvin Bagley III, who is a really promising young power forward who hasn't really been given the chance to blossom in Sacramento, but could possibly benefit from a change of scenery, which Miami could provide. And with Dwayne Wade sort of moving out of the limelight, they could start to focus on Marvin Bagley as the main part of the offense. Especially if Josh Richardson and Whiteside leave, it's basically between him and Goran Dragic, but they can sort of tailor the offense more to Bagley. So the Kings lineup, this helps them in that they get a third potent scoring option with Josh Richardson. And then also, again, as I was saying previously, with getting Vucevic, Whiteside is a lot better than Kosta Koufos, so I'd rather start Whiteside next to Willie Cauley-Stein than Kosta Koufos. He's a really good defender, really good rim runner, good at blocking, good at the things that the guys like him and DeAndre Jordan and Clint Capella all do, kind of like catching alley-oops and just finishing around the rim. Your starting lineup for the Kings after this trade looks probably like Fox at point, Buddy Hield, Josh Richardson, Cauley Stein, and Hassan Whiteside. Coming off the bench, then you're going to have Bielitsa and Yogi Ferrell and Justin Jackson. For the Heat, your starting lineup would look something like Goran Dragic, Iman Shumpert, then probably at small forward, Justice Winslow, power forward Bagley, and then center Bam Adebayo. And then your bench is real deep. You got Bogdanovich, you got Wayne Ellington, James Johnson, Roddy McGruber, Dwayne Wade. So you got quite a bench. Tyler Johnson as well. So you got a lot going for you on that bench. So they add to their depth while also they relieve a lot of cap room. They get $22 million this offseason instead of next offseason, or and they get it this summer instead of a year from this summer, which could be really useful. And then they could move some parts around and lure a guy. Maybe Jimmy Butler wants to go to Miami. That was on his list of free agency potential destinations. Maybe Kevin Durant, maybe someone like that. And you can say, hey, look, we can pair you with Bagley, Bogdanovich, Goran Dragic. It's a pretty good supporting cast. Not amazing, but it's better than what the Knicks could offer you as a supporting cast, I would say. And yes, I know Porzingis is there, but besides Porzingis, it's the worst roster in the NBA. And Porzingis coming off an ACL tear isn't that enticing to me. And yes, Goran Dragic, Marvin Bagley, Bogdanovich, Wayne Ellington, Rodney McGruber, Bam Adebayo, that's much more enticing for a guy like Kevin Durant. So if you're going to roast me in the comments on that, I'm beating you to the punch right here. Okay, next trade I have the Kings trading with the Washington Wizards, and I have them acquiring the guy that they tried to sign an off season or two ago. I have them getting Otto Porter Jr., also Jan Mahimi. Basically, I have them saying, yes, we'll take on bad contracts, but in exchange, we're just going to give you like nothing of value, essentially. They trade the Wizards 3 expiring contracts, Zach Randolph, Iman Shumpert, Kosta Koufos. These guys all come off the books after this season. That's worth $31 million. And then they get Otto Porter back and Jan Mahimi. I'd say Otto Porter's better than Iman Shumpert. As far as guys who actually play in this trade, it's basically Otto Porter for Iman Shumpert, and I like Otto Porter better. Taller. Iman Shumpert had basically been playing the small forward for them, but I'd say that Otto Porter can play it a lot better. He is actually tall enough and big enough for the position. Last year, he shot something like 44% from 3. He's not shooting as well this year, but I still think he's a promising player. He's still really young. So you get a definite upgrade, and you essentially trade bad contracts for expiring bad contracts, but you do get the best player in the trade in Otto Porter Jr. And why do the Wizards do this? They get a lot of money off the books. They get $41 million off the books after this season, which is really nice because that's what the contracts for Porter and Mahimi are worth, $41 million, almost 42. And so you got the expiring contracts of the 3 guys they acquire, along with $10 million that they save just overall in the trade. I think they do that and then try to reload in the off season, and they basically get to use an eraser on a lot of the bad decisions they've made the past couple of off seasons. Okay, the final trade I have here on here, the 5th and final one, is between the Kings and the Boston Celtics. Again, it's a similar, like, we're going to give you expiring contracts to help you make up for a bad decision. And that is the Celtics acquire, again, Zach Randolph and Iman Shumpert, along with Kosta Koufos, $31 million in expiring contracts in exchange for Gordon Hayward. So has Gordon Hayward been terrible this year? No, but he's averaging 10 points a game on 41% from the field, 33% from 3. Do I think he may improve? Yes, I think he could get back up to around 15 points a game on like good shooting percentages, like 45% from the field and 37% from 3. But I think he's basically going to be a 6th man in his career from now on. I don't really think he particularly fits with this Boston team either, because they kind of have Jason Tatum, who basically does the same stuff that Gordon Hayward can do. So they're just repeating abilities when they have them both on the floor, or just in general having them both on the team. So for Sacramento, you get a really solid small forward, though I'd say like a really good third option behind Fox and Hield. Their starting lineup after this trade would look like Fox, Heald, Hayward, Bielitsa, and then Willie Cauley-Stein with, again, Justin Jackson, Marvin Bagley, Yogi Ferrell off the bench. For Boston, your starting lineup after this trade is going to look like, pretty similar. Probably Kyrie, actually Shumpert I could see in the starting lineup here. Kyrie, Shumpert, probably Tatum then, Horford and Baines, and then off the bench you got Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Terry Rozier, Marcus Morris. They have been starting Marcus Morris sometimes too in the starting lineup, so the starting lineup could be something like Kyrie, Shumpert, Tatum, Marcus Morris, and Al Horford. Either way, it's still super deep, but essentially they gained $30 to $31 million in the offseason to try and lure somebody. Hey, they could try and sign Kevin Durant and say, hey, come here. Or they could try and sign a number of guys, Jimmy Butler, Klay Thompson. There's a lot of big free agents out there this offseason. I'm trying to think. Technically, Al Horford does have an opt-out, but I bet you that he would just opt in because he's making so much money. But yeah, they just have a lot more flexibility. And think of that lineup if they were to acquire Durant in the offseason, or even Jimmy Butler for that matter, who I'm not as high on, or Klay Thompson, who I'm not as high on either as Durant. I'm forgetting Kawhi Leonard. They could also think of if they brought in Kawhi Leonard to this team. Wow, unstoppable. It's just something to think about. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys found some of these trade scenarios interesting. Some are more likely than others. It's hard. The Kings didn't have a ton of great assets to move around unless they were like De'Aaron Fox or Buddy Hield, who I don't think that they'd be willing to trade. But a lot of their young guys make only like $5 million, so they are worth more than their contract value, so it's hard to reasonably move them in trades. But I was trying to avoid moving those two guys because I think that they want to build around them. Again, I realize you may not agree with everything I said or all the scenarios I came up with. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'd be glad to hear from you and discuss. Hope you guys have a good day. Bye.